Hello everybody and welcome to Bright Weird, this time without a beard. Now it's been it seems an age actually since I last made a video, and it actually is because the last time I made a video we were in the age of Pisces, and since December the 21st, 2020 we are now in the age of Aquarius. Now that's not what I want to talk about today. I'm going to talk about a particular subject that has really been floating around in my head for a while, and I just wanted to get it out and get maybe some feedback from comments. So this is a phone. It's a miracle device that manipulates the electromagnetic spectrum as a modern technology to conduct incredible acts. I mean, not so long ago, you could have taken this phone with all of its technology, maybe 100 years ago, and it would have literally been considered supernatural or the realms of magic. This phone connects with invisible links to other places magically all the way around the world, and it's got the repository of all human knowledge in it through search engines. And we take all of that for granted. You know, most people out there don't understand the miracle behind the magic of this modern technology. Now, with my electrical engineering background, I understand better than most exactly what it is, what the science is behind modern technology, what makes our computers tick, what makes our phone network work, what makes our electrical power grid operate. And it really is a true modern miracle. But what if I told you that there's an older system than the electromagnetic technology, a system many thousands of years older and much more advanced? And that system is still in place and working, but it's firewalled or password protected from the ignorant. What if I told you that ancient technology does not work on electromagnetism, on electricity? What if I told you that ancient technology worked instead on a quantum-based spiritual energy? An arm of science that's very well known about, but not taught in regular schools. To learn this ancient science or craft, you would need to attend a special school, and that school would be known or are known as mystery schools. And believe me when I tell you that those schools do indeed exist today, hidden in plain sight, and in many cases the school itself is hidden from its very students. I'm sure you're aware that a nuclear power station is an electrical power plant, but what if I told you that temples, pyramids, even modern day churches and cathedrals are spiritual energy power plants, places where you can go to charge your spiritual energy, which is a quantifiable thing. There's also an act called ritual, which is to spiritual energy what solar panels are to electrical energy. Have you ever heard the phrase, humanity needs to wake up, while you're wide awake and wondering, well, we're already awake, aren't we? Well, what they're actually talking about is a spiritual consciousness, the higher level of woke, slightly above or much higher above your conscious self. So this phone works on electrical energy. I've already mentioned that. Now, if this goes to 0%, it won't work. It will cease to operate. It will switch off. It will just be a brick. It will be no use whatsoever. But your body, your human body, also works on bioelectrical chemical energy. So when your spiritual energy is at 0%, your body will still function. It will still walk around and eat and drink and converse with other human beings. But spiritually, you're switched off. It's almost like the Wi-Fi is switched off inside you. And most people in society walk around most of their life on 0%, fast asleep, spiritually speaking. Now, I mentioned that temples are spiritual power plants. And when people go into the Great Pyramid, this is where it becomes quantifiable. When people go into the Great Pyramid, quite often they'll come out with a really eerie feeling, and they'll say, that place, there was something about it. I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it. When they've been in the Great Pyramid in particular. Now, that odd feeling that people get when they go in there, that spooky feeling, if you like, is they've been walking around for years, probably with their spiritual charge on zero, probably since childhood. And that feeling that they get is where they've suddenly been charged from 0 to 100% after being in that spiritual power plant, that place that was designed to enhance the spirituality of mankind. Now, there's a famous story about Napoleon Bonaparte when the French invaded Egypt. Napoleon went ashore and he took many archaeologists, he took artists, and really went to town on understanding what this ancient culture was that was in Egypt. Napoleon was a real buff on the subject. Now, Napoleon being Napoleon and the Great Pyramid being there in front of him, what does the sociopath do? He says, I want to sleep in that tonight. So he did, and he went into the Great Pyramid to sleep. And famously, he came running out of the Great Pyramid, 3 o'clock in the morning, naked, screaming, absolutely terrified. So what happened to Bonaparte there was Napoleon, he literally overcharged his spiritual self. It overwhelmed him. It terrified him. And that's a natural thing. So I mentioned a moment ago about an ancient spiritual technology. It spans the world, and I also mentioned that it's firewalled or password protected from the ignorant, because you can't just have anybody going online. And to gain access, you obviously need a key or a password or a tool to do so. And those tools are very, very strange in nature. And here's a typical example. I have in front of me here a pack of tarot cards, and the top one here, I think we'll start with saying that with tarot cards, the phrase "a picture paints 1,000 words" really does do it justice. I mean, look at this one, 10 of Pentacles. You've got 10 pentagrams laid out in the shape of the Jewish Kabbalah, and anybody who knows about the Theosophical Kabbalah of the Hebrews will know that just by looking at this image, it will trigger them off and start them speaking for weeks or months. This card, this one picture, is literally a psychological trigger for an entire encyclopedia of knowledge. And that's something that needs to be considered, because tarot cards are not simply a humble card game. There's something else. Now, these tarot cards are a more modern system based on a much older spiritual key system, and that stems from certain objects like the Benbine Table of Isis, also called the Mensa Isaica or the Isaic Table. And this is the Benbine tablet is a small tablet, and it's full of spiritual keys, pictorial keys that trigger psychologically the supercomputer that's inside your head. Now, these working tools or pictures, they utilise the language of symbolism to psychologically trigger the microcosm, which in turn can manipulate the macrocosm on a quantum level, and this act is called manifestation. It might sound a little bit crazy if you don't know what I'm talking about. It's a real big chunk of information to take in. But this spiritual machine that's spread across the world that you can tap into, you can craft the very fabric of your life and your reality to your will by tapping into it. Now, I mentioned quantum there. Now, how can you manipulate something external from your body? Well, we've all heard the stories where a mother senses when their child is injured terribly, hundreds of miles away. Somebody knows that somebody who they care deeply about is injured at a great distance, and because love is quantifiable. And Einstein, this is a quantum fact. Einstein called it spooky action at a distance. If you take a particle and you split it into two, the particle doesn't care that you've split it into two. It still thinks it's one particle. It doesn't care. And if you move this one, the other one moves in sympathy, and they can be thousands of miles, literally thousands of miles apart. And if you move this one, the other one moves with it. There's no link in between. There's no radio link, okay, like this technology works on. This is a quantum link. And scientists are currently working on a system called quantum communications, which will form an unhackable internet. This is a fact, and it really works. Now, the spiritual technology that's already there is far more advanced than the electromagnetic technology that this junk telephone works on. It really is. And it's already there, and we're only just beginning to rediscover what we knew tens of thousands of years ago in a previous civilization. So, what does this mean? Well, there's a beautiful spiritual machine that you can tap into. Your body has already got the hardware built into it. Whether we've been genetically modified or whether we evolved to tap into an earth system that's all around us, I don't know. But I do know for a fact it's there. And I also know that we're about to go through a very difficult age of man, where mankind is literally about to merge with an electromagnetic machine. We're going to be having chips put in our head, and all sorts of things are going to be happening over the next 100 years, which, spiritually speaking, is absolutely disgusting. So when we start merging with machines and we start putting chips inside our head and start connecting electromagnetic technology directly into our bodies without the need for a device, I mean, it'd be great to begin with. You'll be able to close your eyes and enter a Zoom meeting. Your phone will ring inside your inner ear. You won't need any technology to be able to communicate with people all over the world. So we're essentially doing what can already be done spiritually, but we're utilising an electromagnetic technology to reinvent the wheel, if you like, for a system that's already there, in place. And just because you may not be spiritual in nature, and you may not be aware of it, and you may not be able to tap into it like some people can quite easily, then this is almost like a cheat's way in, using a different technology to do the same sort of thing. And I think that mankind's going to come to a stage sometime over the next 100 years where technologically we're going to realise that the next invention is already there. When we get to the stage where we say we don't need to put electrical chips inside our head, what we need to do is we need to genetically modify ourselves to tap into X, Y, or Z. And then we're going to realise that the function of certain parts of our brain, like the pineal gland and other components in us biologically, are there for a very different reason to what we actually realised. And it's part of the system. And whether we were genetically modified or whether we evolved to tap into that system is a good topic for debate. It really is. And I think, look at the way that we store data at the moment on hard drives, in massive server racks, in bunkers all over the world, burning loads of electricity. Not required at all. I mean, if you think the amount of data compression that you can get in DNA, I mean, why have hard drives? Why not store your information in the very fabric of reality all the way around us? Why not use nature? And in fact, isn't that what's already been done? Just because you can't see it, just because you can't see that quantifiable link to the radio mast and the technology that this works on, in the same way, the natural system that's in place, the spiritual system, the global spiritual machine, just because you can't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Just because you don't understand it, it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Now, those people who are fortunate enough to have been touched by what Manly P. Hall called flashes of clairvoyance, those people will understand exactly what I'm trying to convey. Because once you have tapped into it or felt it, once you've experienced spiritual energy, you can never again ignore it. I just hope that mankind wakes up before we forge ahead with an unnecessary bastardization of our microcosm temples with junk technology from a future that's devolved from an ancient past technology that's already in all of us. Hey, look, whole chunk of information there that I've literally just vomited out. Not as structured or organised as a normal YouTube video that I would do, but I just really wanted to get that one out from the heart, if you like. You know, I hope in some way that some of the things I've said there that might start triggering people. I mean, that's my aim here, is to get people thinking about it, So please do comment and let me know what you think. I'm Steve, this has been Bright Weird, and thanks for watching.